Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the Everton News Daily. Lots of little stories floating around today. Let's start with Richarlison. He played last night for Brazil in their 5-0 win against El Salvador. Only 3 minutes had gone when he won a penalty that Neymar converted. And not long after, he scored his first international goal on his first international start for Brazil. A wonderfully curled in effort, and he doubled his tally in the second half with a well driven left foot shot. He was subbed off just after the hour mark for Everton. Believe it or not, he went off for a play called Everton. It was a great debut. He played through the middle, and all in all, it was a dream start. Obviously the opposition weren't fantastic, but I think just the manner of which he took his goals and the way he worked hard and the way he really wasn't fazed by the whole thing was fantastic, really, for Evertonians to see. And it'll be interesting to see, you know, whether he will play in that role for Everton in the future, playing through the centre of the park, somewhere where he can use his pace, stretch centre forwards, create chances, create trouble, and get goals, hopefully. So yeah, fantastic debut for him last night. I know a lot of Evertonians were buzzing this morning when they seen that he'd scored a couple of goals for Brazil. Because let's be honest, in football they are still that name, aren't they? There's still that romantic attraction to them in world football, because they're Brazil. And I think for any team that has a player playing for them, it's a big honour for that club. So yeah, fantastic. Not only that he played, but he got the goals as well. So well done to him. Anthony Robinson was in action last night. He was a substitute for the United States against Mexico. So big derby, really. He came on in the second half and helped set up the goal that won the game for America. So again, fantastic for him as well. He's playing in some big games. He played against Brazil at the weekend. Now he's played against Mexico, which, as I said, is a huge game for the United States. It really is there. It's there, you know, England, Scotland, but it really means something now. It really does, even when it's a friendly. So fantastic experience for him. He's played against, you know, as I said, he's played against Brazil, Mexico. He's played against France in their last friendly before they went to the World Cup in Paris. So he's playing in these big games, getting that big game experience that hopefully at some point to come back to Everton with a challenge for that left back spot. So well done for him last night. On the international front, disappointing news: Seamus Coleman has a stress fracture in his foot, which normally takes 6 to 8 weeks. If it's probably that's worst case scenario to come back from. He got the injury against Wales on Friday night in their 4-0 defeat. He was scanned while he was still with Ireland, and he's still with them. He hasn't come back. I think they've got a game and he stayed with them. Slightly disappointed, to be honest, if I'm honest, with Seamus. I think he should have come straight back to Everton with the injury, being treated by the Everton doctors so they could put a plan in action for his recovery. By all means, he could have flown back to the Ireland camp with it, but I'd rather have seen him come back to Everton, because let's be honest, he's not, in terms of form, fully come back yet since his broken leg that he sustained with Ireland, ironically against Wales. So I'd have liked to have seen him come back, but he stayed with the Irish camp, with him being the captain. And we'll have to wait and see. Well, Everton's doctors haven't seen him yet, so Everton won't know what the prognosis is on when he'll be back. But Martin O'Neill said he doesn't think he'll be fit for their next 2 internationals in October. So that's telling you already that it's going to be over. It's going to be a month or so. So really disappointed by that news, and but it opens the door. It opens the door to John Joe Kenny, and it's crazy, isn't it? We're only into our 5th league game at the weekend against West Ham, and already the squad is stretched massively. I think we've got 9-10 players out with injuries and suspension for that game. So it just shows you, if you don't have the squad and if you don't bulk up that squad, it can really catch you. So big opportunity for John Joe if he plays. I don't know whether the option would be to play maybe Lucas Digne there. Could be something to think about with Baines playing at left back, but we'll have to wait and see. Tom Davies, he could be another option for right back, couldn't he? We've seen him a couple of years ago play there pre-season. He's played against Rosenberg last season in the Europa League qualifiers. Could that be somewhere that could be his long-term future right back? That could be somewhere that really fits in with his player traits. We'll have to wait and see. Bill Kenwright is on TalkSport this morning, radio station here in the UK, talking about Bramley Moore-Dock. Of course, he's sold some of his shares this week to Farhad Mashiri, as Farhad bumped up his shares in the club and became the majority shareholder with over I think it's over 60% now, is it? Around 60% of the shares now. So Bill's lost some, John Woods has lost some. So Bill's talking about Bramley Moore-Dock. He said, I am more excited about the prospect of going to the Dock in Liverpool, having that major position. But as we always say, any new stadium at this moment has to be carefully planned and thought out. The look at the problems poor Daniel Levy is having at Tottenham, it's step by step. The architect is working hard, the council are with us, the funding is going ahead, but we're not there yet. But it's very exciting, the prospect. So there you have it. He's saying we're not quite there yet, but what he's saying is that we're edging closer, and it's almost about getting everything right, all the ducks in a row, before we actually sort of commit to it and put a date on it. I know they've put dates on in the past, but maybe the next bit will be revealing some pictures, maybe a website, all those little things that can just help people get excited. But I think Everton are very careful of not having the fingers burnt on this, not revealing too much too quickly, and it then slowing down and fans start getting worried and agitated by the pace that it's going at. So I think they're just being very, very careful about getting the information out too early. They want to make sure that it's all correct and right. Jimmy Carragher has said that Marcus Rashford should come to Everton. Basically, he said Everton would be the perfect place for him. He said he doesn't, he's basically said that Everton would be somewhere that he would start every week. He said, Man United have got Lukaku, and is Rashford going to start ahead of Lukaku? No, but if he came to Everton, he'd start every game. Now, I don't know if that's right, if he would start every game, but it's an interesting prospect. He scored in both of England's games over the weekend. He's someone who's got bags of talent and who's just seen his progression be halted slightly in the last 12 months. He was flying when he came into the team. I mean, this is a kid who's only been in the Premier League for 18 months or so. Would he come on loan? Would he come permanent? It's interesting because this is not the first ex-player to mention this. I think Ian Wright mentioned it last week as well, citing Everton as the perfect place for him for his development. I don't know, maybe something like a 2-year loan would be a perfect thing for him. Come to Everton on a 2-year loan and then go back to United. I know that's not what people like. People don't like this idea of Everton bringing in players who are to develop them for other teams. But you've got to be realistic, and also, in Europe, that's a big common thing. You get players going from Juventus to Bayern Munich on a couple of year loans and going back, and Mbappe's still on loan, isn't he, from Monaco to PSG? So I don't know. It's definitely someone that fits the bracket, I think, and would suit both teams, whether it be permanent or a loan. And I think for Rashford's development, I think he'd do very well in Everton's team, and would. If he came, you look at who we've got at the moment as centre forwards. Cenk Tosun obviously hasn't scored this season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has scored 3 times, and Nias. Well, I think he's better than a couple of those players. I'm not saying which two, but I think he's better than a couple of those players. So he could come in and offer something a little bit different for us. Pacey, good finisher, and I think he could do the business at Everton. Whether it ever happens, I don't know. But it's interesting it's being thrown out there. Finally today, Nikola Vlasic has spoken about why he left Everton on loan to go to CSKA Moscow. He's obviously in the Champions League squad ahead of the Champions League season. He said that Marco Silva told him that he couldn't promise him a place in the starting 11 this season. I imagine there might have been a little bit more to that, like, I can't promise you a place in the squad, because don't forget he was one of those players that was singled out at the beginning of the season and basically told to find a new club, which he did, and apparently he started there very well, and he's going to be in the Champions League for them, so great experience for him. He's not someone I imagine will ever come back to Everton. I can see him having the loan and then either going there permanently or going somewhere else, but he said that I think the kid sort of had a rough time being bought under one manager, then having another manager come in who didn't have time to see what his best attributes are, and then another manager coming in who probably thinks his attributes don't suit the way he plays. So that's disappointing for him, but I'm glad that he started well, and he's going to be playing in the Champions League. And just finally, because I just remembered this as well, so going back to the internationals, Henry Onyekuru played last night for Nigeria and scored. That is a fantastic boost for Everton's chances of getting a work permit for him. So if he continues to play for Galatasaray, continues to score goals, plays some part in the Champions League, and plays some games for Nigeria, I mean, if he played every other Nigeria game between now and the end of the season, he would easily get the work permit. So if he stays injury free, plays games, scores goals, then hopefully he'll be an Everton player next year, 2 years after we originally bought him. Hopefully so, fingers crossed. There you have it, that's been all the news for today. Don't forget, catch us tomorrow when we'll have all the latest. If you're on Patreon, make sure to check out the Footy Show, Baz's amazing stat show. If you haven't got the stat show already, make sure you check that out. And also, if you want an amazing Richarlison t-shirt, head over to our website, click on the shop tab, and go and check out this t-shirt and many other brilliant t-shirts that we're selling at the moment. They're only £14. If you join us on Patreon, you get 25% off as well. So that basically pays for your Patreon for a month. So you can come out and come over and have a free trial on our Patreon. Get a t-shirt that you're buying anyway. Everyone's a winner. There you have it. Thanks for watching Toffee TV. I'll see you later.